we go again.
He's Kennedy, my brother from another mother.
What's good, bro?
Yo, I'm gonna tell you right off the cuff, I'm digging that Marauders. I'm
Throwback,
digging
bro.
the Marauders, though, bro. I'm digging it.
Throwback.
I'm digging
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I appreciate it. Hey,
Yeah,
man.
man.
Hold on, before we get the music popping off, bro. Can we get one for the one time and new champion? Did you get to watch the fight?
Okay, so listen, bro. I had to go back. Let's get this music going. Let's get
All
that
right,
music
all right.
going. We're
Let's
gonna
get
get
it.
into that. Let's
Let's
get
get it.
into it.
It doesn't matter what your name is.
Slash Brothers Podcast, the greatest podcast of all time. The Slash Brothers Podcast, the greatest podcast
If you
of all time.
smell what the rock. It doesn't matter what your name is.
Slash Brothers Podcast, the greatest podcast of all time.
Hey, listen, if you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe to the Slash Brothers YouTube and Facebook pages. We're live on both platforms at the same time. You click on the notification, you click on the bell, you get the heads up whenever your boys is doing their thing. Ace Kennedy. So, the fight was this weekend, and this is one thing that was kind of interesting to me, right? Because I was on vacation celebrating my anniversary, 19 years with the research department, though, man. Very happy though, man. Had a great time, bro. We was out in Gulf Shores, Alabama, which one of the best kept secrets. Let me just get into something real quick before I jump in and tell you about how this all go full circle.
Okay.
So I do a lot of vacations along the Emerald Coast of Florida. It's the 38. So it's Destin Beach, is Santa Rosa Beach, it's Rosemary Beach, is the Fort Walton Beach area and everything.
PCB,
And
don't be disrespecting
PCB is my go-to. Yeah, you're right. I would be remiss. I haven't made my way to Pensacola yet, but Pensacola is more on the far eastern side of this coastline. But I love the area. By far the best beaches. There's probably three other beach towns within this coastline that I'm dying to check out. And so what but the thing about it is that this particular one, Gulf Shores, Alabama, I never would have thought about it. Saw this pop up on TikTok. Somebody was saying, hey, if you don't know, Gulf Shores, Alabama, along the Emerald Coast, is a sleeper. And I was like, wow, start doing a little bit of research. And I saw that, like, I think that not that long ago, they had one of the they had like a big Olympic maybe volleyball setup out there, man. It was a pretty big little deal. And it was like, no, they're kind of doing some building out there to Gulf Shores to make it a more tourist kind of thing. And so I was like, wow, let me go through and do some research. Found a dope resort out there, though, man. And listen, it's so chill still. And the one thing that's about this area, though, man, it's not like going out to Florida, and it's not as uppity as going out to Palm Beach. It's really relaxing and really chill vibes though, bro. And so went out there though, man, had a bomb time, right? I'm talking about just not doing nothing too crazy. We just out here chilling. And for me, I'm one of those people who can go out and take one of the best naps ever on the beach, though, bro. And so went out there, man, had out there mouth wide open on the beach. Ain't worried about nobody at all. But because of that, though, on the night of the fight, right? I think there was one thing where I was still getting used to being on Central Time, though, right?
Mhm.
So we out here, and I'm thinking like, oh, okay, well, we might have to just go out to a bar to check out the fight, right? But what's crazy about it, though, man, is that most of the spots out there close up at like 11 o'clock, and I was like, this fight ain't gonna come on to maybe this one. 1 o'clock is when they gonna start fighting, right? And I'm thinking that's EST. And then 1 o'clock comes around though, bro. I got to dozed off on it, dozed off at the beginning to start the fight, right? I put it on the fight. I was like, okay, cool. I caught it right on time, right? Catch the fight. By then, dog, I had been up for so long, though, man, that I fell asleep in round 5, maybe round 6, though. Fell asleep on it, though, man. And then had to basically the next day when I made it home, I had to rewatch the entire thing, though, right? So I did see the entire fight, though, bro. And listen, I was very, very surprised by this fight, though, man. Very surprised by it because my brother specifically was one I told you he's the biggest Bud Crawford fan.
Yeah.
And he's been a Bud Crawford fan from day one, has been telling me that everybody has been running from him, everybody's been ducking him, and he hasn't had a lot of these big fights because nobody wanted any parts of him, basically, though, right? And so what I thought was interesting is that when I saw that Canelo was getting so much more on the payout of the fight as the champion in the major draw, and the boy Crawford was like, I'm just here. I'm glad for the opportunity. I don't necessarily, I'm good. It's gonna work itself out though, right? And so when I saw all of that, I was like, wow, I was blown away because everything that man, listen, me and my brother can go back and forward about anything, right? We usually don't agree on a lot of things, and that's what's funny about me and his relationship and going back and forth. There's always something to banter about. But when he said, I thought, listen, I've seen Canelo manhandle everybody he's got in there with the exception of Floyd Mayweather. But when Canelo's last fight, he barely won it, right? Barely won his last fight. So my brother was like, nah, all the stuff that he said from the last fight, Bud ain't about that. Bud's faster. And I was like, yo, he's 37 years old, bro. He's 37. My brother's like, nah, you don't understand. He a different kind of 37-year-old, right?
Yeah.
And dog, when I
No, no,
saw
no. He's 38 because
30,
that was
sorry,
because one thing Sarah was like, he 38. I'm about to be 40, and he out here doing this.
yes, doing this thing though, bro. And listen, I listen. I have a thing about rooting for the old guy, bro. I'm
Yeah.
always down to see the old guy do his thing. But Canelo's no spring chicken, though, bro. But I just thought that I saw how Canelo had been whipping up on everybody else. And here's what I believe, though, man. It wouldn't surprise me if Canelo maybe has one more fight and he retires because I think, bro, that he's whipped everybody so much up until this point that I think that I'm not saying that it's going to take anything away from Bud Crawford.
Yeah.
I think that it's taken so much more for him to muster up the energy to go into camps and to do this, that, and the other. And I think that he just will be a good steward of boxing and just helping it out because I don't think that maybe he thought that the way that he had been preparing was going to be enough. But I know for sure that the way I saw him out there getting tagged, I was like, yo, I just thought that he was so much faster. I thought his defense was so much better. And while he took some punches, he did issue out some punches, though, bro. And I just thought that seeing that Canelo was fighting at his natural, his weight, and that Bud had to put on weight, that Canelo would be more comfortable, though, bro. And I never saw that Canelo made the adjustments that I thought to really put him over the top at all. Like he was guessing all rounds, though, bro. I was very impressed. I was very entertained by the fight, though,
The
bro.
fight was
Very
very
entertaining.
entertaining, and this is what I
Yeah,
thought: win or lose, either one of them, they put on a fight. Like
absolutely.
nobody, I don't think anybody can say anything bad about Canelo, and I don't think anybody could have said anything bad about Bud. I thought because here's the thing: whoever did the scheduling of the fight, as far as like which matches are going to go before the Canelo fight, Chef Kiss. They must have been a fan of WWE because you know how you have to have the heater, but then you got to cool the crowd down so that they not so when the main event happened, they got energy. Because the fight before Canelo and them fight was kind of like, all right, I can go to the bathroom, I can go grab me something to eat, I can do whatever. But the fight
Right.
before that, when them dudes was in the center of the ring where they end up tying each other because they was just going blow for blow for blow for blow, bro, that match was hard, bro. But yeah, the Canelo fight was epic. I thought it was dope. I love the respect that they had for one another. But yeah, I'm a Bud fan, and he was him in this match.
I I was thoroughly impressed though, bro. And I will tell you this though, man. The one thing that I think though, man, I do think that Canelo did everything that I think if he would have did this same effort against almost anybody else, I think he would have won because I think that this has traditionally been how he's won his fights though, bro. I was very surprised that I just didn't know that Bud would be able to take the punches, right? And that was the one thing that I appreciated and understood right off the cuff. Like, oh, okay, no. He got a chin because Canelo's been laid out a couple of guys, though, man. And so I just thought that meant very thoroughly impressed. But I think that the one thing that I liked about the fight is nobody was running, bro. Like nobody was running. It was defensive, but it was defensive within. It wasn't all counter punches, and that's been one of the problems that I've seen with boxing that makes me appreciate MMA even that much more is that when you go to MMA, you're incentivized to go out there and lay somebody out, right? And you play defense, that's fine, but you are incentivized to knock out. And I think that in boxing, you see a lot of people that don't want to just look bad by getting laid out. And I get that that sounds crazy. Nobody wants to look bad getting knocked out. But at the same time, I think that nobody wants to take the chances like that, though, man. And so I appreciated that there was no back down from either one. I just thought that Bud was on this night, Bud was better, though, bro. So I thoroughly loved the fight, though. Absolutely.
Listen, the meme punch of the night, bro, is epic. You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about?
Yeah. The counter punch, when he hit him, he was like,
And he turned back around and looked at him like, "Did you just hit me?" Like it
yeah,
was.
like I didn't know you
It's,
had that in your
yeah.
bag.
What was crazy is because somebody put it to the rush hour. Which one of you hit me? When Chris
Yeah.
Tucker, somebody put
Yes.
that, bro.
It,
I
it was so good, bro.
yeah,
So good.
who I was impressed with the most. I gotta say, I was impressed with Sarah because she was in it, bro. Like she was in it, like she was enjoying it. She like it was just watch it through her eyes. It was crazy because she was just so invested. She was so invested. Yeah,
Listen, my wife was over there knocked out smooth. I listen, because I had to wake up, right? And she was just like, "No, I'm gone. I'm gone."
yeah.
I think she must have overheard that I was over there watching it on my phone. But then when I fell asleep on it, I was just like, "Dang." And then what I wanted to do is I didn't want to just catch it through social media updates, right? I was like, now let me go back and actually watch it though, man. So
Yeah.
yeah. It was dope, man. I probably one of the best fights that I've seen. Ooh, boxing at least 5 years, bro. At least five. It's been. I'm thinking like, yeah. I don't know. I wasn't that impressed by the Tank and Ryan Garcia fight, even though it had the most hype that I've seen in some time.
What about
There's just so many boxing.
Tank and Roach though?
Nah. There just hasn't been. See, I think that that's the thing about it. In boxing, there's just so many fights that don't happen that it's just like, all right, well, no, this one goes down as like I'm not gonna say it. I would say it's probably a top five fight in the last 10 years, and it might be top three
Yeah,
to me, easy entertainment wise. So yeah,
41 million people tuned in to watch.
listen, they were very smart on having it on Netflix, by the way. And I think that, and when you're talking about ratings and views, I think that should not go dismissed. That you had it on a platform that was readily available. It's very much like you having the fight on national television on Fox, right? Where
Mhm.
something that everybody has access to it, though, man. And so I did think that way everybody could have their own fight party. That anybody you could. Yeah, I thought that was so smart, though, bro. So
Absolutely.
smart.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's
Love
gonna
it,
be
love it.
just like Jake Paul and Tank.
See, see, see. Now I was just telling you how impressed I was with the boxing, and then you bring up this though. And the bad part about it is, man,
Uh,
I got a feeling I'm gonna watch it though,
you,
man.
you are gonna watch it because it's just it's for one, you already own it. You got Netflix. It's an event. Here's the thing: people want to see Jake Paul get knocked out. They want to see him fall. They want to see somebody credible. The thing is, regardless of whether you want to see it or not, it's a crash. It's like a crash, right? You gotta just see. You have to look, and that's just, it's gonna be another social event.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
Speaking
anywho,
of events, bruh, please tell me you watched the Dame Dash interview on Breakfast Club, bruh.
loved it.
Okay.
It was one of those. To me, the Dame Dash interview was like one of those classic hip hop black culture moments
Yes.
that you can say, all right, this was one that was captured on the internet that everybody could talk about, that has replay value, that could have excerpts, memes. It did the whole 9 yards.
Listen,
It was so good.
I think that's exactly why Charlemagne was just laughing, because he knew he had one, bro.
I
Like,
knew he did. I knew he
yeah,
was.
he knew he had one, because this is your opportunity to explain yourself, and you dropped the ball. You completely dropped the ball. Like, Dame does not know how to talk to people, bro. Like, he literally does not know how to talk to people.
See, this is my thing about it. I don't think that it's that Dame does, and then I'm going to say this, and I'll put this out there as a caveat, because I am biased when it comes to Dame Dash. I was telling Nick this today, that I for some reason, I don't know why, I'm a big Dame Dash fan, right? I get Dame Dash, so that
Mhm.
so if I come across as biased, okay, sure.
Okay.
I think that what it is I think that what Dame Dash seems to have an issue with when it comes to having a conversation or talking with people. I think that Damian Dash stands so firmly on his code that it's hard for him to have conversations with people who aren't like-minded. If you don't live through a code, whatever your code is, if you don't stand on a code, it's hard for Damian Dash to have a conversation with you. You have to have a conversation on his level. You know what people say, oh yeah, well, we can have a conversation. Like with Dame Dash, you always seem to have to meet him where he is. So whatever level he is on this conversation, that's where you got to take it. And I think that the problem with that is that it doesn't lend for him to have a true open platform. Let's just have this open discussion, because he's always going to fall back to his code. And I think that that's where this was the first time they had the big interview with him, when they showed the differences in the clash between him and Charlemagne. It's nothing different now. It's just more time has passed and there's more information that's available now on him.
Right. I understand having differences with people with communication, differences of people of life experiences, differences on stances and stuff like that. Because I don't think any of his stances were wrong. But the problem is you not, just because you stand on a certain way, you still have to meet people in the middle of where they're
Mhm.
at. So that's what I mean by he doesn't know how to talk to people because of his differences. He can't he cannot communicate. And so
Right.
when Breakfast Club said before the interview, and this was like a week ago, when they said Dame is in his own way, this is what they're talking about. Because if I ask you a question, I'm gonna let you get your stuff out. But if you are like your brain is moving faster than your thought process of releasing information, so then you get deterred, and then you want to ask a question, and then you talk about, well, you never, like, so you asked me a question, so now I'm trying to answer you, but now you saying I'm interrupting you. Like, like the whole thing was not beneficial. And but the problem is he's the one that needed to explain some things. The Breakfast Club doesn't. Like, you trying to insult the place that gave you the opportunity to shed light on your information, and insulting people like, because you work for somebody, you're stupid, or because you never did this, you're stupid. Like, no, you don't, you can't keep telling a grown man how stupid you are, how this or how that. Like, the gay thing didn't bother me at all, because Charlemagne finally shot back. You broke. Like, listen, you gonna call me gay, I'm gonna call you broke. Like, that's just, I had no issue with that. You know what I'm saying? But you calling me stupid, or you caught, like, because you've never, like, you can't talk down to me when I'm trying to do an interview with you that you agreed to do, that you chose to come. Like the whole thing. Like I get everything that you said, but nah, you don't know how to talk to people, bro. And ultimately,
I agree with that.
It makes you look bad.
It does make you look bad. I think that the big thing in the end, right, in the court of public opinion, it makes you look bad, right? If we're talking about that. But I think that the thing that's interesting me, I'm talking about the moments, right? The you being gay was one of those moments, right? When he called out specific things that
Yeah.
he thought Charlemagne did, I thought that was something that you can't help, even if you're Charlemagne. I think
Right.
you can't help but laugh, right? I think that the part that I think that's interesting is that when he kept saying that you gonna cut me off, you're gonna let me finish my stuff. But that to me was like a funny part about it. The part that I thought was funny, he was like, "Yeah, you know," he said, "If I punch you in the face, you're not gonna do nothing about it because you got history of not doing nothing about that kind of stuff, though." And he's like, "Yo, when you ran, right? I don't run." That's funny to me, right? But I think equally as funny with the comebacks, like the Dead
He
Dash, right?
said,
Used to
"Gonna
open a
fight."
label called Dead Jam.
Yeah.
Like that's hilarious to me. And I thought that, you can tell how agitated Dame was when he was like, "Yeah, that's why you try to do this fake laugh right quick." And I thought that that's when I knew Charlemagne knew that I got one. We got enough. He knew that that was the Birdman
He
moment.
turned into the old Charlemagne. Charlemagne has not attacked or bantered with a guest in years, bro. Years, literal years. He's in a different mindset. He goes to therapy now. He allows people to come up there and say what they wanted to say. Because the last time a guest came up there that was disrespectful, that the Breakfast Club ate him alive, it was a YouTuber. But
I
Charlemagne
saw
didn't have
that.
to get him. Jess got him. Because Jess is the
Yeah,
one that
yeah, yeah.
dived on him. You know what I'm saying?
I love that. By the way, I love that moment. By the way, that
Oh,
that
me
was
too.
one of them ones. Yeah,
He
yeah,
couldn't,
yeah. I
that boy
absolutely
didn't
love
even
it.
have no water left in his body. He said, she was, I don't know what you're drinking for. You ain't got no water in there. Like he was in the hot seat burning up,
I
bro.
thought that boy was about to cry though, man. I thought he was gonna cry when he got in his car though, man. And but I think that listen, I knew for sure. I said Dame Dash gonna give me something. He gonna give you something. And I thought that it was this is what I think. Here's where I think that Dame Dash wins from all this, right? So the bad part about it is that when he started talking about his finances and everything like that, they after they did the recap, my girl was like, "Hey, you know what? He kind of, some of the people that was basically suing him was basically trying to say, all right, well, we can use this in a lawsuit, use the information or whatever." So that's the one part that's bad. But I think that the part that I can appreciate for Dame Dash, if it's at all true, right, that Dame Dash has money, he just don't have the money to pay back these debtors or have enough money or whatever it is. If he can legally do this, like a lot of people with money have done,
Mhm.
and said, "Hey, I'm gonna go ahead and declare I'm gonna file for bankruptcy so that I don't." If there are things that can protect you, and he can do it, that's cool. I don't think that Dame Dash is broke, even though he'll let you say that he's broke because that's what he has to do for legal purposes, though, right? So I think that's one thing. But I think that the part that is that Dame wins on is that if he does has things that are in the works, I think at this point it wasn't anything damaging enough to where this isn't just more publicity for him. Right. I think that it's a moment. I think it's another one of those things. It's like I think about that when Soldier Boy got up there when he said the Drake. Like at that point, I don't think that I had seen Soldier Boy in 5 years or say anything about him. And I thought that for him to have a Breakfast Club moment, I thought that he maxed it out. And I think that he it's like whatever you thought about Dame Dash, you thought you doubled down on it for good or bad. But the good of all of it is that he is very much in the public eye on one of the biggest platforms in Black America, Black culture, and especially for hip hop. And so I think that with him, knowing if he's going to eventually get to wherever he want to be at with his ventures, at some point, it's the stop through. You got to swing by Breakfast Club, though, man. So it was a win-win for everybody. But the moment that we got from it was the win for us as fans of Black culture, though, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. Because when he said, "How you gonna tell me what Chatty Patty mean?" and I'm the one that made it up, that junk was hilarious to me, bro. But him saying
Yeah.
that he was the chairman of
Revolt.
Revolt, and Revolt was like, "No,
Nah, he ain't with us though, bro. I died like, but I think that listen, this is my thing though. If I'm Dane, I keep riding that. I think he could have done that and then trolling because ultimately he was trying to get back at Cam, right? For this, right? So I'm looking at if I'm Dane, I'm riding this and I'm trolling on everything. Every chance I get, though, bro, I'm trolling out there.
yeah," but you
But
ain't do
people
nothing but gave Cam another log for the fire, bro.
either way, though, man, you still up as long as your name is being mentioned for you being Dame Dash. If something, think about that though, bro. If you had 100 M's in your bank account, right? But
Mhm.
somebody saw you driving a broke down car, and they said, "Oh yeah, that boy Ace, he broke." Do you got to go and prove to somebody you got money?
Nah, you don't. But the thing is that you chose to get on that platform and
I
say the
get
things
that.
that you said.
Yes,
But
I get that, but I'm just talking about in general terms. If people in general thought you were broke, right? Do you feel like, well, just to show y'all I ain't broke, bam, here go this big gaudy chain, right? If you've already like my thing is this: if Dame Dash could realistically say, in terms of that whole fashion thing for hip hop and black culture, he could very well easily say I was one of the innovators. So it doesn't for what impresses y'all now. It doesn't impress me because I did that 20 years ago, right? 30 years ago, I was doing that. Y'all are wearing chains and doing label chains, and we had the piece that's still recognizable, right? We had the clothing. We've done everything that people are doing now. So my thing is that if you're Dame, it's like I don't really see that, especially legally, it does nothing for you to just try to dispel this Dame Dash is broke. You can read whatever publicly that you want to find out. That's public information. But no one will ever know how much cash Damon Dash is sitting on or how much he really has. And so from that perspective, I'm just thinking like, all right, well, it's beneficial for me at the moment for y'all to keep saying that I'm broke and for y'all to ride this narrative, but I'm not going to dispel anything if it's going to hurt where I'm at with what I got going on business wise, though, man. I'm not mad at, but again, I defend Dame Dash though, bro, because I am biased when it comes to him, though.
I get that. But you can tell that boy was bitter about that Jay-Z boy.
Well,
Ew, oh my gosh. You
I
could
don't
not
think he'll
mention.
ever get over that.
I mean, I get it, but yeah, it was just how bitter though.
Hey, so listen, I'm not gonna lie to you though, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you though, nigga. You got to look at it like this. Imagine, because this is probably more literally what it is. Imagine if me and you fell out and it was over something that I thought was the extremest foul of the extremest foul. If I felt like you and I, we're talking about codes, right? If I felt like me and you, all of our lifetime, right, that we've known each other, and especially as grown men, that we've created our own code. You and I, we created the way that we would go about being men and being around and raising our family and how we engage with each other. We created our code. And then if we fell out because I felt like you violated that, there's so many different levels to why I think that why you would be bitter. Because for me, it's beyond just you and I's business. That means that I would feel like you violated me as a brother. You violated me as one of the people who I tell almost anything to. Now you've also violated the fact that your family is like my family. So now you've caused the wedge into relationships that you and I have had mutually. Like I can totally understand how, from Dame's perspective, that his issue with Jay, if he doesn't feel like he was at fault, and if he felt like he always stood 10 toes down behind Jay Z, right, and if he felt like Jay Z was the one that violated their friendships. For as long as they have been friends and business partners, I can totally understand why Dame would. And I don't think that he's necessarily wrong on that, bro.
He's not wrong. But if you're that bitter, just don't bring him up. Dame is the one that brought up Jay-Z. James is the one that said, I believe, like you talk about everybody else, but you never say something about Jay-Z. Like you got his name tattooed on him and you wearing his clothing and you doing this, you like everything. He brought that up. My thing is that it's totally acceptable for him to feel that way. Don't bring him up because you
listen, man.
opened yourself up
can't.
to looking that crazy.
I can't, bro. I listen. I can't listen. I maybe for me, I'm too much. And then I listen. Jay-Z is the GOAT of GOAT, and I hold Jay-Z to the highest of highest standards. But anytime I hear Dame Dash talk about Jay-Z, doesn't matter how many times I hear him say it, I never hear him say anything that I think is wrong. I've never heard him say anything that I thought was foul. Now, whether or not he should be talking about it is another thing. You could just not, right? Because I don't think that, as far as I know, Jay-Z doesn't go publicly talking about Dame Dash, right?
But what I'm saying is it'd be different if the Breakfast Club brought up Jay-Z and he responded that way. Wouldn't have an issue with it because you brought it
I
up.
feel you.
But
That's
you
true.
brought it up. The other thing,
I feel that.
the other part that I thought was interesting is because he contradicted himself so much. Like you tell me I can't do this, but then you do it. Like
Yeah.
he cut off Lauren LaRosa so much. He was cutting everybody off. And just like that's where I'm like, you this is your code, this is your things that you say trigger you, but you turn around and do it to everybody else. That's where I'm like, nah.
In his defense, let me say this.
Okay.
In his defense, if he felt like you are about to put out misinformation, in his defense, I think that you would want to clip that before the misinformation go out, because once the information goes out there, all it has to do is be repeated multiple times before people assume that that's the truth.
He said that in the interview. He said that in the interview about what's her name? Claudia Jordan. He said that about the whole incident that he's going through with her, that she's putting out this information and so her stuff is getting in the algorithm, and if he don't defend himself, then that's all it's gonna be. I get that, but you ain't let Lauren get her stuff off, because here's the thing. Lauren has personally talked to him before the Breakfast Club interview, so she's already asked him some of these questions. She just had follow-ups. And so my thing is that, okay, you don't want to talk to Envy anymore. You don't want to talk to Charlamagne no more. Lauren is there. You ain't even let her get her stuff off. And that's it. It's my, again, you brought these rules. You came in and said, these are my, you started the interview. This, and this are my things. And you turn around and did the exact thing. That's what I had an issue with.
In his defense, Charlamagne violated those first by cutting him off.
Charlamagne was trying to have a conversation. Like me saying yes and okay while you're talking is not interrupting you. That is just validating what you're saying, letting you know that I'm paying attention. That I have no issue with that. Now, Jess had to call Charlamagne out a couple of times. Charlamagne fell back, but then you go into then asking me a question, and then I try to respond. And you like, wait, don't cut me off. Like, you just asked me a question. Like, when am I? So then you ask me a question, and I sit there, and you like, well, why you ain't saying nothing? Now I asked you a question, you don't want to say nothing. Well, I can't.
That in his defense, that'll happen with anybody.
I don't know, bro. That interview, listen, my blood was boiling watching that thing. I was laughing at myself for getting mad watching it, because I'm like,
It's platinum.
Yeah, it was a great. I watched every drop of that interview. And then it's crazy because his OG was even telling, like, yeah, he exaggerated a whole bunch. Like, even your OG out here telling you out here be fabricating stuff.
Listen, man, I'm not gonna let y'all get out here and trash Dame Dash, though. I'm not.
You ain't got to worry about it. Listen, we ain't gonna be the only podcast to talk about it. I promise you, bro. I can't.
I do, man. Listen, bro. For some weird reason, bro, I just understand Dame Dash, though, bro. I think
I
that, you know
understand.
what it is.
What's up?
You know what it is. Dame Dash. This is the funny thing about it. Dame Dash kind of reminds me of like people that I'm friends with, where it's like somebody might be like, I don't even know how y'all even friends. Y'all don't have anything to come. Y'all see certain things different, but there's this one thing, right? That you might be like, I respect this one thing, and that carries the whole thing. I understand that for some reason that Dame Dash is not everybody's cup of tea, though, right? And nor do I think he tries to be, though, right? But I think that for some reason, though, it's like Dame Dash to me is a very much like a love-hate thing that you got to really like him or you got to really hate him. But also, he doesn't, I don't think that Dame Dash pretends, though. I think that he either really likes you or he really don't even try to fool with you at all. And I respect that, though, man.
Yeah. Again, I understood all his points. I knew exactly where he was coming from. And I don't like or dislike Dame for me to be like, I was like, came into the interview with a bias. I was
Yeah,
literally listening for him to explain.
yeah,
But I have a problem with you talking down to people or you trying to say, well, you're so stupid, you don't understand what I'm saying. I hate that. Like,
yeah.
it's okay that we don't come from the same place or don't
Right.
agree on beliefs or whatever the case may be, but you're not fixing to just be talking down to me though. When like it again, Charlemagne and them, they knew what they had, they knew what they was
I
doing.
knew it. Classic moment, though,
They
bro. I
knew
mean,
it.
absolutely
He
classic
ain't had one
moment.
of these in a minute, and it's
Yeah,
viral. It's out of here. It is out of
yeah,
here. And the
yeah,
thing
yeah,
was,
yeah,
Charlemagne also knew. Oh, don't worry, the fact checks is coming. Everything you saying, all the stuff you saying, the fact checks is coming because it's
yeah,
you. You didn't put it out here, so I knew all of that. So, but anyway,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
great
Love it.
interview, great moment. Uh, I
Very
thought it was
entertaining.
phenomenal. Yeah, yeah, yeah. What else we got before we get you out of here, bro?
Uh, we got some football. Did you catch the games?
I didn't catch any games. I ain't even went to watch the lowlights of uh my Bears and the Lions. I haven't even watched the lowlights yet. 52 to
Listen,
21. 52 to
uh,
21, bro. Like
hey, listen, man.
it was like Detroit was like, listen, you want to take our offensive coordinator? We're gonna show you what's up.
Hey, hey, listen, man. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if it's worse the fact that y'all have hope, y'all had hope, or me not having the expectations because I don't have hope for my
Right,
team.
right, right.
Let me tell you this though. I do think that one of the big trends over the weekend, though, from the NFL was that there were a number, because it was 9/11, there were a number of teams who had observance for all the lives lost at 9/11. But there were a number of teams who also specifically had moments of silence for Charlie Kirk. Listen, one of the things that's happened since we last met, political pundit, podcaster, I don't know what his formal title is, influencer, um, but was gunned down though, man, and not gunned down,
Fascinating.
sharpshoot Snyder basically assassinated though, right? And it's technically people are like, why is I saw somebody say, why is it considered an assassination? Because usually assassinations come from political backgrounds. Once
Yeah.
there's something political, that's what makes an assassination, though, bro. But shot though, man, and shot at a school in Utah. He's famous for going on campuses and having his debates. And shot down there though, bro. From long range. Cat gets on a rifle. I mean, gets on a high powered rifle though, man, lays him on down though, man, in the middle of his conversation. Ace Kennedy, what are we, listen, for starters, we got the NFL aspect of them again bringing politics into NFL when they didn't say that it was necessary, when one Colin Kaepernick was bringing in something that they deemed to be very political into football. But let's set that aside. Give me your thoughts about Charlie Kirk, the whole 9 yards, so bro.
Okay, so real quick, I didn't know who Charlie Kirk was. I ain't never heard of him day in my life. Never heard of him.
Mm, I
Uh
did. I'm big on TikTok. I'm big on watching TikTok. So I was very aware of who Charlie Kirk was.
Never again, didn't know who he was. Um haven't seen the video, still haven't watched the video. It's funny because me and Sarah was driving yesterday and she was like, why is the flag at half mast? And I was like, I'm assuming it's for Charlie Kirk. And then of course I saw something talking about it. Here is my overall view on it. First of all, again, not knowing who he was, I started looking into who he was and saw some of the things he had been saying and why people loved him or didn't love him, and you know, lack thereof, or whatever you want to call it. Um, to me, man, he's just another case of somebody that I didn't rock with. You know what I'm saying? And meaning that I didn't necessarily agree with anything that he said. And again, I know I'm just watching clips and highlights of what is being put together. I'm sure he probably had certain things that I probably could have got on board with, but for the most part, there was a lot of things I didn't get on board with. Interesting conversation with him saying that when it comes to mass shootings and protecting the Second Amendment rights, a couple of people are going to have to die in order for us to protect the rights for us to bear arms with the Second Amendment. So I'm sure he didn't believe he would be one of those people or any one of his family members. But with all that being said, this is the way that I feel. Unless I'm in war, or unless it's you versus me, like say you come to my house, you pull a gun on me, I pull a gun on you. Unless it's something like that, I am never going to be okay with any sort of murder. If your life ain't in danger, you're not in war, whatever like that. So whether I like you, whether I like what you say, whether I like what you do, what you stand on, what your political views are, what your faith is, what your race is, the way you grew up, anything that you can think of. I don't care if I don't like any of that. I still am not going to be okay with somebody murdering you. The way that I feel is we are in a country that you are allowed to say the things that you want to say. It doesn't mean without consequence, because actions have consequences. You say something that's going to trigger other people. And I understand that too. But for me, if you say the things that I don't like saying and all of the things that I just discussed, I still am not okay with you being murdered, because you should have the right to say the things that you want to say, understanding that you, being the political person that you are, the platform that you have, there are going to be consequences for the things that you say, and things like this could happen. Problem I had is on my timeline, there were certain people almost, no, not almost, there were certain people celebrating him dying, almost like when Hogan died, right? There were people celebrating when Hogan died. And I'm like, it's not,
Hold on, wait. So celebrating him like, yes, he's dead, or celebrating like, oh man, let's do a tribute for
no,
we mourning him.
celebrating his death, as in grateful that he's dead. Like, good, that's what he deserved. That I don't like. I can understand, like, because there were certain people that would say, listen, not that I get what like get what you deserve, but there were some people that were borderline, like, just like, hey, this is what you kept speaking about it and it happened. Okay, I'll give you that. But celebrating the death, that's where I draw the line. It's like, I'm like, because to me, my brain goes to, this person didn't have the same politics with you, so you want them to die. That's the way it feels for me. And I don't like that. Like, I'm okay with, I have people that I talk to that we on different sides of the aisle. That we are not on the same page politically or whatever like that. And they're some of my coolest friends, right? So I don't have an issue with people having a difference of opinion when it comes to politics or any of the other plethora of things that you can disagree with. But to celebrate somebody dying, I'm that's not for me, bro. That I'm not here for that.
Listen, I think that I totally understand everything you said. I think that to me, I look at it a little differently though, because I'm very familiar with him. Right before this, I
Yeah,
look at it like this. I agree with you as well that I am never going to sit here and be one that's going to say, "Oh, this person deserved to die." Right? I do believe in the amendments, and I do believe in protecting those freedoms that we have. At the same time, though, bro, I'm not. I admittedly, I'm not empathetic to it, though, bro. Like, I'm not going to celebrate it, but at the same time, I'm not heartbroken either, though, bro. I think the problem is that I think that based off of my knowledge of him, I don't think that he would expect for someone like me to be empathetic or sympathetic for him passing away or his family, how they feel, because he didn't look at people like me as equals to him. I think that for all the bad things and all the very degrading things that he said about black people, over the time that I've gotten familiar seeing him around, everything about him has been very divisive, and everything about him has been very degrading about what he actually says and feels about black people, specifically black women. And I always have a problem with that, especially as someone who feels like I cape for black women. And so I think that when you say such disparaging things, I don't believe that you deserve to die. I'm not going to celebrate it, but I don't think that it deserves a moment of silence at a football game. I don't think you have a moment. If his family, where he's from, if his local town want to do something like that, that's fine. If you got his followers and they have a private something like that, that's perfectly fine to me, though, man. But I'm just sitting here thinking, like, if I'm a black NFL player and I know that this guy who's a racist and said all these racist things about people who look like me and my mama and my wife, and you telling me we need to have a moment of silence to observe him, we need to drive past a building and see it at half flag, a half staff. If you're a black person, like that, is that what we're doing? Because my thing is this: if Dr. Umar passed away, right? Regardless of how he passed away, they're not having a moment of observance for Dr. Umar, but they're not putting the flags at half staff for Dr. Umar. Like, what are we talking about, though, bro? And I don't think that Dr. Umar has been as the great. I think that his information that he feels about being pro-black, I think that it was one thing. I think that this is the thing I think that's interesting about, because I know I'm more familiar with his takes. Like, people will look and see, oh, he said this one thing that I agree with. And people say, oh, he's not that bad. He said this. But it's just like all these other things that you've said that are disparaging things, that you've marginalized all these other people. It's a heat to me. I think that I would feel more empathy for a person who sees things different from me politically, if racially you don't take that particular stance, if you wasn't so forward in your convictions with how you feel about people that look like me. And so while I won't celebrate you dying, I told somebody before, man, and I don't want to sound like I'm cold hearted, because I'm not. I didn't lose an ounce of sleep, and if I'm being completely honest, I don't know anybody who is a Charlie Kirk guy that said, "Well, did you sleep differently last night because Charlie Kirk died?" I don't think so. And I'm not going to lose an ounce of sleep either. And that's not to say that. Listen, I did feel terrible that I believed that his wife and kids were there. I
Mhm.
feel that's absolutely awful for your kids to witness growing up, though, right? But but when you say, like, even when his wife came on and said, "Oh, this is his mission. This was something that he was gonna." If you thought that it was gonna go, I'm like, I don't care about his mission. I'm not empathetic about that, though, man. And it's not at all that I don't feel terrible for his wife that 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 she has to live with all of it. That's
Mhm.
fine.
Yeah, yeah.
But my thing is this, though, right? The same way how I didn't feel empathetic about him because of his message, because of the things that he championed. I mean, you're basically just saying you gonna take the baton from him. So I don't feel empathetic for what you might say, because that tells me that you were his wife, so you were his biggest supporter. So I'm not gonna feel the way that one of his supporters feel. So there's zero empathy for me at all. I have absolutely no tolerance, zero tolerance for people who feel so strongly and take that stance in terms of being empathetic, compassionate. Like, no, yeah, you do have a right to say whatever you want to say. You fine. And I have a right to like I'm not good with that, though, man. So nah, I'm like I said, I'm not sad at all. I do feel like this man's rights were violated. That's cool. I do feel that way, though, man. But no, I don't feel angry that he died. I don't feel angry that his rights were violated, and I don't feel empathetic. I don't feel like, nah, I'm not crushed at all. That, nah, bro. Like, I'm
Yeah,
not
but
gonna sit here and to celebrate him like with flags, half staff, like he was some kind of hero, though, bro. Like, to have JD Vance get up here and sit in on this podcast and try to dispel all of these things that you could very easily prove that he said. It's just like, what, dog, come on, man. Like, you're not gonna, JD Vance isn't gonna get up here and sit in place of Dr. Umar if he died, though, bro. Get out my face with this, though, bro. And
Yeah.
stop playing in my face like I don't know better, bro.
Well, no, everything that you said, I don't disagree with, but you aren't also celebrating his death either, though. Like,
Hey, look, wait, like this. I'm not celebrating him. I'm not angry at those people, though.
again, people have their
I
right.
feel impartial. I just feel impartial on that note.
Right, but here's the thing.
I think if you're
that's
celebrating
my-
somebody dying.
That's just my stance, though. That's why
Sure.
I made it clear that was my stance.
Yeah.
Only thing that I have an issue with is people celebrating it, because again,
Feel that.
that's
Couldn't do it.
huh.
See,
And here's
don't
the
have
other
the
part.
issue,
I
but
also
I wouldn't do it.
I also agree that the NFL shouldn't have did that. I also agree that we shouldn't be at half staff for that. He's not a sitting president or a
Don't treat like don't. My problem is for people to expect for a person who is a blatant racist and a blatant white supremacist and who has gone on record to say such disparaging things should be celebrated in the vein of a hero, bro. That's the shit that I have a problem with, though, bro.
Yeah.
That really pisses me off.
And I agree with you.
I think that, but I think overall, my issue with it isn't so much that you can feel how you feel about him, but I think that when to me, like, you have a problem that people were celebrating him, right? I think that people were angry that he wasn't being celebrated, like, for all, like when I actually had a conversation, man, on my page about him, and I saw someone kind of compare like him to MLK. It was like, oh yeah, the people who are a lot of times people who are really big on their position in speech, and like MLK and like Malcolm X are assassinated. I'm like, bro, are y'all seriously putting him in the vein and in a conversation with Malcolm X and Martin Luther King? Not Martin Luther the King, not Martin. But y'all better get out my face with this stuff, bro. That he is not that to me. And maybe it's because, again, I've seen that Charlie Kirk has said some things where he's like, okay, that's decent. But I've seen the totality as well, though, bro. And so don't sit here and tell me that someone has a great man resume because they said this one thing that you think you kind of got a point there, though, bro. When you've trashed and said all of these things for this rest of your resume is just degrading, it's divisive, it's intentional. And this is the thing I think that's crazy to me about it, though, bro. What I also have a problem with is the cleanup of it afterwards, right? Because now you're like when the Utah governor or whoever it was, like, I was hoping it wasn't one of us, and we were just like, really? And then now when you got JD Vance up there trying to say he didn't say these particular things, and it's like you're trying to clean up his image when he's already said it. And let me just say this before we we were supposed to wrap up early today, but let me say this. I think that it's something to be said that, from what I've understood, right, that the cat that he actually was assassinated by was a big follower of the extreme left-wing Republicans, or whatever wing it is, the extremists. And so the fact that he was assassinated was almost like they were saying, bro, you a racist and you a white supremacist, but you ain't enough. You ain't. We mad at you. Them people that they said they were basically allegedly were like, basically, bro, we don't think that you ain't extreme enough, though, bro. Because how else do you explain someone who supports that kind of rhetoric knocking out someone who it's get these people the way that they're trying to clean him up, though, bro? It's like, I know what I've seen, though, bro. Don't play in my face and act like that I didn't see and my ears didn't hear something that I know for sure I did, bro.
Right.
Get him out my face. And I feel awful for his kids, though, bro, that they saw their pops get laid out like that. And that's the one thing that my heart goes out to them. But I think that they are innocent in the whole thing, though, bro. But nah, I feel terrible that the man's, constitutional rights that we all live by were violated, though, bro. But not any more than what I do if anybody else's were on any given day, though, man.
Yeah.
Nah, I just can't.
No, completely understand your view and take on it, and I gave mine. So I we here on what we just standing on what we standing on. So
I feel I can't help but feel any other way. And listen, and it's not that if you tell me it's not that I'm not open to dialogue and discussion about it. I'm not closed minded and everything like you can do, but at the same time, though, man, like I'm gonna be honest with you, though, man. You would have to be some kind of person to explain to me why, if you feel like he should be garnered as a hero, bro, why?
yeah.
Get it out of my face. Don't play in my face, bro. I'm too old. I'm about to be 45, bro. I don't got
About to
time
be.
for that.
Well, look, man, we are the Slash Brothers. This is the Slash Brother Podcast. Thank you for joining us every week at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time, or Central, whatever time it is. Central Time. There we go.
Yep.
And from ATL to OKC, we are the Slash Brothers. We will see y'all the next time.